Hello everyone, today's video I'll be reviewing Amazing Spider-Man 2 from 2014. After Sony's success with the first Amazing Spider-Man film with Andrew Garfield, they of course decided to make a sequel to this movie. It was once again directed by Mark Webb, produced by Avi Arad, Mac Tolmach, the story is by Alec Kurtzman, Roberto Orci, Jeff Pinkner. These three also did the screenplay, and it was also co-written by James Vanderbilt. The movie stars Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, Jamie Foxx, Zane DeHaan, Campbell Scott, Embeth Davids, Colm Feore, Paul Giamatti, and Sally Field. The music was done by Hans Zimmerman, the Magnificent Six. I don't have to mention Hans Zimmerman's name and what he's done for superhero movies in the past. Hans Zimmer is a legend. The plot to Amazing Spider-Man is that Spider-Man has learned to adapt and feels confident, and has learned to control his superpowers. When not fighting crime, he spends time dating Gwen Stacy, but Peter's still unsure if he wants to take the risk of having a relationship and still being Spider-Man at the same time. His greatest battle is about to come when he comes up against Electro and the Green Goblin. Harry Osborn's father dies, he is left with the company, and he is dying. He asks Spider-Man to help cure him. But Spider-Man refuses, believing that there are better treatment options. Max Dillon is an employee at Oscorp who no one at the job respects. He has an obsession over Spider-Man after saving his life and pretends they are friends. After an accident, his identity is covered to make sure Oscorp does not get bad publicity. Then Max Dillon becomes Electro. Just like seeing the first Amazing Spider-Man reboot in the theaters, this is one I originally intended to skip out on, but a good friend of mine from high school who now lives in Florida came to visit me one time, and we ended up going to the movies to see this movie in the theaters. Well, despite not being a fan of the first movie, this one was okay. I thought it was a slight improvement. It was no Spider-Man 2 from 2004, that's for sure. This is my second time watching it since the movie theaters. This movie is alright, it's not a great movie. Andrew Garfield's performance was a slight improvement in this movie, but he's still not one of my favorite actors to have played Spider-Man. The costume looked a little bit better than the last movie, that's for sure. Despite me bashing his performance as Spider-Man in the last movie, I think he's a good actor, really talented. His performance as Spider-Man does not do much for me. After I saw him in movies like Hacksaw Ridge and other movies, it made me realize how really talented, good of an actor Andrew Garfield is, but Spider-Man to me, not so much. That's just my opinion. If you're someone who likes him as Spider-Man, that by all means, that's fine. Unlike Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, where he does not want to take the risk of having a girlfriend being Spider-Man at the same time, in this movie version of Spider-Man, he decides to take the risk of being with Gwen Stacy. Despite what Gwen's dad said in the last movie, Gwen wants to make her own choices based on her, not her deceased father or Peter Parker. Peter Parker still has no idea the truth about his parents. There was a deleted scene I wish they kept in the movie where he finally meets his dad for the first time since he was a little kid. In my Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy reviews, I mentioned how those movies had social commentary on real-world events, like post 9/11 and economic collapse recessions. This movie and the first movie had little social commentary on whistleblowers. I'm not sure it was just me or people pointed it out in this movie. Seeing that when Peter finds out the truth why his dad sent him to live with his aunt and uncle, his father was trying to expose the truth and corruption behind Oscorp, that what they were doing was wrong and illegal. Because when you think about it, this movie came out around the time when Julian Assange WikiLeaks came out exposing the real truth behind what went on during the War of Afghanistan, and also in 2013, a year before this movie came out, 2014, Snowden revealed the truth about how the NSA was keeping track of everyone's cell phones and technologies and spying on them. This movie was cliché with misunderstood villains. Jamie Foxx's performance as Electro was basically copying and mimicking Jim Carrey's Riddler from Batman Forever. A cliché character gets treated like shit from his boss at work. No self-esteem, no one loves or respects him. He's a loner, has no friends. There was a deleted scene where we see he has a sick dying mother who he's estranged from. After Spider-Man saves his life, he has an unhealthy obsession to pretend that him and Spider-Man are friends. After his accident, he becomes Electro. As much as I love Jamie Foxx as an actor, he's a really talented guy who deserved to have a better performance as Electro in this movie. He didn't even look like Electro from the comic books. He looked like one of the Blue Man Group made out of static electricity. I will say, the fight scene in Times Square between him and Spider-Man was pretty cool. Chris Cooper plays Norman Osborn. I don't know what his screen time was in this movie, but we did not even get to know this Norman Osborn to have him kill off. And he wasn't the Green Goblin in this movie. After Norman Osborn dies, Harry Osborn takes over Oscorp. Him and Peter have a reunion, having not seen each other for a long time. Harry is dying and wants Spider-Man's blood to help cure him. Spider-Man does want to help him, but he believes his blood is not the solution. and that there's other alternatives, and Harry thinks Spider-Man's looking out for himself, which is not the case. Dane DeHaan as Harry Osborn was really not that good. I found him cliché, boring, not interesting, not convincing enough as James Franco. I mean, yes, he was dying, but still had a hard time getting to his performance as Harry Osborn. And again, cliché. I'm sure he's a good actor. I need to see what else he's done as an actor. When seeing this movie, I had no idea who he was. He wasn't Lincoln, but I don't remember his character in that movie. The scene when Gwen Stacy dies, they really nailed that, just like the comic book. But it's hard to say. Should they have saved this in a later sequel, like the fourth movie maybe, if they really wanted to go that far in the series? Again, I feel like they rushed it too quickly and should have stayed there for more in the series. Paul Giamatti as Rhino was useless, wasted, for a sequel that we never got to see because of this movie's poor box office results. Instead, Sony lost the rights to Spider-Man and sold them to Disney, and Disney got the rights to Spider-Man in order to put Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. They originally wanted to set up a sequel where they had the Sinister Six, but instead that did not happen after when Sony sold the rights to Spider-Man to Disney. I'll never forget around this time period, around 2014, around the time when the film was released, when there were plans for a third Amazing Spider-Man film, and before Andrew Garfield stepped down as Spider-Man after when Sony sold the rights to Disney to put Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies with the Avengers, they originally casted Shailene Woodley as Mary Jane Watson, and I'm not really sure how true this is, or 100%. I remember reading how she shot her scenes for this movie in advance, and also that her scenes were cut for this film, setting up for the next movie. But honestly, I never really found any deleted scenes of that. I'm not really sure how true it is that when she was cast as Mary Jane Watson, that they shot scenes of this movie, but they were cut. I've never seen them on YouTube, or I've not heard that they were not on any any home video, DVD, or Blu-ray format of her deleted scenes. So I really have no comment about her performance as Mary Jane Watson, because she was casted, yet they filmed her scenes, but they've never shown those scenes whatsoever. While I may not hate or love this movie, the movie was decent okay, and it improved slightly from the first movie. But unfortunately, it does not mean that this movie has a place in my heart, and I will not be rewatching it over and over again anytime soon. I'll never forget when Sony lost the rights to Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield was stepping down as Spider-Man. I was one of the few who was not upset when he stepped down as Spider-Man. I was thrilled and excited to see how Spider-Man was going to be in the Avengers Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Because around the time when the Avengers just came out, I thought, okay, are they going to tie, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, or are they going to go in a different direction where they get a new actor, a new, Spider-Man universe? Okay, so that was my review of Amazing Spider-Man 2. Hope you liked the video. In the future, I will review Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies. For now, I just wanted to keep it simple by talking about the basics of the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies. I thought I'd say the Tom Holland's for the Marvel Cinematic Universe movie reviews in the near future. So like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, get the latest updates on my YouTube channel, and I will see you next time.